do this for my mother, who's finally clean, no longer a fan. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you. I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, no longer a fan. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you.
I do this for the kids who sit a bit outside the mix, who maybe cope through humor just to fit in for a bit, who never let the world know when depression's setting in. To all of those who know you, that impression don't exist, and it ain't counterfeit, it's just a way to counter it. I'm living things I dreamed about, I still encounter it. It ain't something that a cigarette or alcohol can fix, but all because of it, I flipped it quick, went on to write some hits. This a success, off another breath. This the first step in searching to be nothing less than be the best in what you do to prove their strength in being you. Learn so much in chasing dreams that I never would in school. Depends on where your passion lie, just no passion never lie. Life presents distractions, but your actions have to fortify. The things that you believe in have to scream it like a battle cry, and leave the ones who didn't looking stupid while they're asking why. Couldn't lie, I really do this for the ones I love. Those who treat the music as a vice and lyrics like a drug. Those who need advice on how to lift their spirit high enough to break out of the box they make of lives they know aren't good enough. Just because it's how it is don't mean it's how it has to be. This is what the uninspired testifiers fail to see. Jealousy results from being that which others failed to be, and if it means you're not with me, that honestly sounds fair to me.
I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, no longer a fan. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you.
Do this for my mother, she'll be working for the summer. Do this for my father, cause these days I often wonder what my life would have been like if I was not adopted. To grow up in a home where I was treated like a problem. I don't know, it's just a guess. Your guess probably good as mine. Lucky that I grew up in a home that wanted me to shine. Lucky that I grew up around some mountains we were taught to climb. Without that inspiration, I don't think that this would be my life. Do this for my friends who've scattered all across the country now. I'm out in Sweden walking back through life so I can write it down. Make a living off the sound, so crazy to say out loud. I'm the biggest thing since Travis Rice to come up out the town. Sorry, gotta stunt a little. Used to have my dreams belittled, but it's all a part of it. I know people's minds are fickle, lines between reality and dreams I blur like faded nights. Come up been so good for me, I wish that I could make it twice.
I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, no longer a fan. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you.
Oh yes, I do this for you. What up, Pop? Shout out to you. Hey guys, thanks for being here tonight. I know you could be anywhere else you want to be right now. I'm still trying to get used to my new setup, so if I'm not looking at my camera correctly, it's just the way it goes. I got a new desk. Shout out to the beautiful Kim Jones. She figured out I needed more desk space. She figured it out, got me more desk space, but here I am trying to make do with what I have. You guys know the deal. I ain't got a producer. I don't have anybody doing anything else for me but me. So yes, there are times when it doesn't look right, when things don't go right. I don't care. We're here for the content. We're here for the delivery. We're here for the context of what I'm saying. We're not too worried about all the glitz and glamour. Now, I want to tell you guys something. I just posted a video today, a couple of minutes ago, and the video is probably going to go viral. The video's going to get 100,000 plus views, and I'm going to tell you that I can do that anytime I want. I don't like it because it floods my comment section in my phone 24/7. So I usually just like to make content that is near and dear to my heart that I can reference back later and just say I told you so, maybe an I am right video. That's what I like to do with my content. I just like to do an I am right video. So today I did an I am right video on Colorado. Shout out to all the haters. Shout out to all the Colorado fans who don't like me because they say I get engagement from them. Stop watching my videos. Go for a walk, buddy. Some of you guys look obese. Go for a jog. Leave me the hell alone. But that's not the video that's going to go viral. The video that's going to go viral is about the Gus bus. Shout out to this kid, Gus Cordova. He's a recruit. He's in Texas, I think Lake Travis High School, and he did a prank. He found out his teammate was allergic to peanuts, and he did a prank. Now, I put out the video. I gave my quote-unquote 2 cents. But I want to be careful. And I want to tell you guys, the young man has reached out to me in my DMs. Reached out to me immediately and said, sir, the information you're saying about me isn't true. Could you please take the video down? This is all false rumors, Twitter trolls, things of this nature. So I asked the young man, would you like to tell me the truth? Would you like to tell me the truth? Because I'd love to hear it. And he said, let me speak to my attorneys and we'll see what happens. Now, I have to go on air. I have to start this show at 8 o'clock, so maybe it'll be there when I'm done with the show. What I want people to understand is, when I asked the man, tell me your side of the story, he replied back with, I haven't lost my Texas offer. They just called me yesterday. I want to explain to this young man, no one gives a shit about your offers. No one cares that if you lost your offers or didn't. His next message was, I haven't lost any offers. No one cares about that. That is the immaturity showing itself again in this moment. I wrote him back and said, listen, I want to know the specifics of your actions and your motives. And crickets. I got no response back. I do not care if other universities still value you. I do not care if somebody called you the other day and blah, blah, blah. I can say this. There's a guy on the internet made a video. I got tagged on it about 100 times. I'm not exaggerating. And he said, this young man, Gus Cordova, by the way, he goes by the Gus bus. He said, Gus Cordova murdered his teammate. Well, I don't necessarily know if that's true. I haven't seen that anywhere on the internet. So I think that's false information. I think that video should be taken down. But knowingly pranking your teammate with peanuts. If you guys don't know the story, he has a teammate, and I'm hesitant to give you the details of the story because I want the young man to give me his side of the story. But the gist of it is he has a teammate who's allergic to peanuts, peanut butter, and he put peanut butter on his teammate's equipment, gear as a prank. Thought it would be funny. After asking whether or not he would have an allergic reaction, he had an allergic reaction. We're saying, near-death experience. Some people are saying attempted murder. Murder is intent. I would say it's negligent homicide if somebody were to pass away from that. I'm not a legal expert. I'm a fucking college football expert. I'm a transfer portal expert. I'm not an expert on the law. I've not chosen to do that with my life. If I did, I'd probably be a better attorney than anybody out there. And I go through that every day. Like, people don't know, man. If I want to be something, I will. And I'll be the best you've ever seen. It's just who I am. Now, I want to focus on the transfer portal tonight. I don't want to talk about this kid and his prank because a year from now, this won't matter. You guys will forget about it. You don't believe me? Who got shot at the parade, the Super Bowl parade? You guys don't care. It's not trending anymore. Something trends for a couple of weeks, and then it's gone. Something trends for a couple of days, and then you don't care. You move on to the next thing. And that's because a lot of you guys are fake activists. A lot of you guys are keyboard warriors. You give a shit. You're social justice warriors. You sit around and you pretend to care about things. And you don't really care about things. I want to tell you guys, I don't care about things. I don't fake my emotion like I care about the victims. Oh my God, we need to have a prayer for this kid who got poisoned by his peanuts. No, we don't. I don't need to pretend to give a shit about everything. There are a lot of people in this world. And there are a lot of good people in this world. There are a lot of smart people in this world. If you pretend to care or have that outrage response to everything, you're just going to wear yourself thin, and you're not doing anything to help any situation. There's an issue with pollution in this world. There's an issue with renewable energy. But I am not an expert in pollution. What is the word I want to use? Mitigation? Pollution mitigation. I'm not an expert in reusable energy. So I don't worry about those things every day. I don't have to act outraged by them. I don't have to write a post every day about them. There's somebody else to take care of that. There's 8 billion, 7 billion people in this world. Let other people do their job. They're going to take care of you. You don't have to pretend to you don't have to say, oh my God, I got to feed all the kids that are homeless. Like, no, you don't. Feed your kids. Do your job. Check your boxes. Somebody else is addressing that issue, and they're probably better equipped to address that issue than you are. When you guys sit around and you post all night on your Twitter or your TikTok about how many things you care about or what you're concerned with, just stop, man. Stop spreading yourself so thin. You can't give a shit about everything. You can't be outraged about everything, because then and then what do you do? You made your post, your post that says, I stand in solidarity with the victims of the mass shooting. And then 2 days later, you can't name them. You didn't go to their funeral. You didn't stand up. You wrote, I stand with these people. You didn't stand up once. You're on your couch, bro, eating Cheetos with that fucking orange crust on them. You guys know what I'm talking about. You're gross. And your damn Crocs checking the mail. You people are gross. Stop pretending to care about everything. I care about the transfer portal. I focus on this. This is where I apply all my cycles. This is where I put in the grind. And I want to keep you informed on the transfer portal. But I can't sit here, stop my whole movement and go, Rico, there's a kid dying of peanuts. You got to do something about this. Rico, we need you. Stop tagging me on that video 100 times over, bro. You don't need me. You don't need me. And Gus Bus, just grow up, kid. Grow up. You're going to grow up the hard way. I hope you have to walk on. I wouldn't give you a scholarship. Just out of accountability, out of sheer accountability and consistency from me. I wouldn't give you a scholarship. Well, here we go. Everybody listen up. It's the transfer portal. It's the linebacker episode. You guys know the deal. This is the third one. So if you want to talk about linebackers, put it in the chat. I apologize. I didn't set up the chat earlier. So when the window comes up for chat, it won't be the way you expected it to be, where I've been doing it real fancy. I have to drag it into the window. You guys might have to bear with me there for a second. I didn't get to set it up before we started the show. I ran out of time. I had other things going on. But we'll be talking about linebackers. So in the chat, you can ask me about linebackers, maybe some that haven't signed, some that are already signed, how they fit, what you're worried about, whatever it is. We can talk linebackers tonight. I hope you have your linebacker questions ready. I'm going to be talking about 25 different linebackers tonight for the episode. Remember, I've already done 2 other episodes. So if you hear me tell you that guy's on episode 1 or that guy's on episode 2, all you got to do, go back to YouTube, search the live tab. There are episodes for every position group. It's that easy. It's too easy to find it, okay? So we're going to start with the list, and I'm going to make the list based upon 24/7. They have them in order by some fictitious rank. It has nothing to do with me. I don't agree with this rank at all, but this is what it is. The first thing we look at here are the enrolled linebackers. Obviously, most are already enrolled. The semester has started. Some have just declared that that's where they're going to go. If you didn't know, the transfer portal, you don't sign any letter of intent. You're not bound to anyone. This is why you can flip after you commit. You can just, if you haven't enrolled, you haven't enrolled. You can enroll at another school if you want to. But these guys, the names on this list, they're already at school. They're not going anywhere else. That's where they're going. So they have them in order, and they try to tell us, like, these are the very best linebackers in the portal. This is not true. It's not remotely true. These are young men, maybe with some potential. They probably had really high recruiting stars. And the recruiting websites, it behooves them, or it's in their best interest, to be accurate or be right. So whenever one of their 4 or 5-star linebackers gets in the portal, they immediately anoint them and say they're a really good linebacker, despite the results, despite the fact that they went to practice and didn't do anything. Despite the results or the lack of productivity, they'll just ignore that and go, well, no, he's got potential. He's going to be good. I'm going to tell you, some of these guys are just recruiting misses, and they're not very good. So Jamin Dumas-Johnson talked about in episode 1. If you want to know about him, go back and watch that episode. Sean Murphy, brand new to the portal. You see it here. He entered on the 15th, just committed, leaving Alabama, going to Florida State. What's interesting about Sean Murphy is when he got in the portal, he did not talk to any other teams. He didn't visit any teams. He didn't talk to any teams. He knew where he was going. He was going with 4 of his other teammates straight to Florida State. I'm going to go contribute and be a part of this linebacker core. Now, the linebacker core is legit. We're talking about DJ Lundy. We're talking about Justin Cryer coming over for last year from Northwestern, who I told you is pretty damn good. Okay? We're talking about Nicholson. Did I want to say Black? Is that his first name, Black? That could be wrong. I don't remember his first name. Nicholson and Graham Jr. These are great linebackers, good linebackers. And you got a guy at Sean Murphy who just couldn't see the field at Alabama. So how do they rank him this high? Well, he was the number blah, 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 the number 2 player coming out of Virginia, da-da-da-da-da. Yeah, dude, shout out to him. His huddle links are blocked. His huddle tape is blocked. It's not there anymore. Couldn't watch him. Try to do some more. I haven't seen him play football. Oh, but he was in the Under Armour game. Rico, he got 5 tackles. He was this guy. Okay. It's just a recruit who didn't pan out, bro. Just a recruit who didn't pan out and hasn't been productive. 6'2", 225. I hope he does well. He's still very young. He still has a chance to be great, but I'm not sold on it. Okay? Pup Howard, Grayson Howard, I talked about him in episode 2, and now we're at Scooby Williams. I am sold on Scooby Williams. I think Scooby Williams is the truth. I think he's very good. He's following his defensive coordinator to Texas A&M. So this is a match made in heaven for him. I'm going to leave. I'm going to go play for my old coach. Give me a second. I'm trying to fix my other screen. I have a screen in front of me, just so we're clear, that lets me know if I talked about this player or not. That's what I keep looking at to make sure I don't go over another player again in case anybody's new to the episodes. So, but looking at Scooby Williams, going over to Texas A&M, he went on a trip. I remember he went on a trip with 2 of his other teammates. Jaden Hill actually already transferred to A&M as well. They missed out on the other kid. He went to Louisville. I forget his name. It'll come to me when I see it. But Scooby, good linebacker, going back with his old coach. He's going to get him where he fits in, and he played great. Shout out to Jalen Kimber. That's who went to Louisville. That's how it happens. But Scooby played great this year for Florida. I thought he played well, and it's just one of those things where Florida's going to miss him, but they're replacing him with Grayson Howard. So this really is a bullshit ranking here where they rank the 2 of them equivalent. And they're just saying, well, Grayson Howard's going to replace him, so they go 1-1. Not that good. Alex Howard is not good like this. I don't think Alex Howard belongs up here at all. But because he's an A&M recruit, they rank him by your school. And people don't believe this is true, but it is because I do the research on it. If you're a certain commit to a certain school, you get ranked together. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, look, I'll scroll down and prove it to you. If you scroll down and you look, because you never sort it by position and by enrolled, they don't want you to know that they ranked Georgia State linebackers together. They just immediately said, oh, both those guys are the same rank because they're going to the same school. If you scroll down far enough, you'll see a bunch of UTEP linebackers down here or Memphis linebackers. That doesn't mean they're the same. There's no way they're the same because I know these players. They got it wrong. They do this all the time. You just go down here and you look, and they just go, oh, you know what? All those guys kind of going to the same school. That's where we're going to rank them. It's not true. I don't think these guys are near the top. I don't think they're special like that. But I like Scooby. I just don't think Grayson Howard's there yet. He will be there in about 2 years. Alex Howard's not on their level. But it's Scooby Williams, pretty good player. I talked about Alex, Caleb Alarms, or all these guys in the first episode. Everybody you see here that I'm skipping. We get to Cameron Wilson leaving Louisville, going to Cincinnati. Talked about him in episode 2. Aiden Fisher, one of the best linebackers. They used to have him in 0 stars, going to Indiana. By the way, look, where do we rank Indiana players? We put them right around here. Oh, what's their rating? 8.6, 8.5. Yeah, let's keep them right around there. Oh, Washington State. Let anybody going to Washington State, they're now ranked somewhere around here. Let's keep them around here. Oh, that's a 9.4. High school, he's a 4-star. We don't care. We're going to keep them the same. This is the shit they do, man. It's nuts. It's embarrassing the way they put these charts together. The next guy on the list, though, I've already covered everybody in episode 1 or episode 2. Go look it up. The next guy on this list is, where is he? Parker. Where's Parker? Parker McKenna, my bad. Parker McKenna, Portland State. I was doing research on this. If you're an FCS player, I don't know who you are. I don't watch you on FCS unless you were a playoff team and you're a superstar. I might know you. But for the most part, I know all the FBS players, all 133 teams. The minute you start getting to FCS, the only way I'll know you is if you transfer to the FBS. Because you weren't in a recruiting class. I study recruiting classes every year. I know who you are, but you weren't in a recruiting class that went to the FBS, so I never studied you. I don't know who you are. You can be a bench player at Louisville. I know who you are. Bench player at La Tech. I know who you are. But if you're coming from Portland State, I don't know who the hell you are. So I got to go do research on you. So I did research on Parker McKenna, and what I noticed was he had 2 offers. One from Nevada, and then one from Washington State. And the first thing I thought was, well, why the hell is he going to Washington State? Why didn't he go to Nevada? He would have got more playing time. They probably really liked him. Is he really about that life? He's got 2 years of eligibility left. So I go turn on the tape. Yeah, he's about that life. He's number 0 on the tape. He's fast. He covers sideline to sideline. And I found an interview where Ryan Grubb, the new offensive coordinator for the Seattle Seahawks, former offensive coordinator for Washington. In the matchup against Washington, the Huskies, one of the top teams in the country, they're interviewing Ryan Grubb, and a reporter asked him, well, what do you think about Portland State? And he said, well, when we watch film, there's a number 0 all over the tape, sideline to sideline. We got to be careful with that guy. Now, he was honorable mention, Big Sky, led the team in tackles. Parker McKenna's a good player. I hope he plays well for Washington State. They need good linebackers. They need some depth. That looks like a great need and fill for Washington State. I hope he made the right choice. Let me keep going down. The next guy, I've covered everybody else in previous episodes. The next guy is Reginald Hughes, Ole Miss. Straight out of Tunica, Mississippi. This is a local kid, went to Ole Miss. If you don't remember, during the season, this is a young man that quit on the team. He quit and left the team in September. For me, that's a red flag. Him and Michael Trigg both quit the same week. Total red flag for me. This was the number 1 linebacker coming out of JUCO. And you guys already know how I feel about JUCO. And if you don't know, I don't think very highly of JUCO number 1 recruits. Go study JUCO recruits, JUCO rankings, recruits that are ranked. Go study them. I don't give a shit who it is over the last 5 years. Go look. The vast majority of them are complete flops. Whoever's ranking JUCO recruits isn't doing it correctly. Whoever's doing it at the websites, the recruiting websites, they're the ones ranking them. They're doing it wrong. They're assessing the players wrong. They're basing it on their high school stars that they gave them, and they just assume they're really good. And by the time they get to a school, they're not the ones doing well. Yes, there are some JUCO transfers that are great. And anybody in my comments, oh, Rico, there's some studs in JUCO. Yeah. It's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is the recruiting websites rank them incorrectly. They try to convince you that some player coming out of the JUCO is the number 1 linebacker in the country, and he's not. He definitely can't play at the SEC. I don't give a shit if you're the number 1 JUCO wide receiver. Shout out to Malik Benson. You can't play in the SEC. Stop doing it. You're wasting years of eligibility. Did I say? I'm telling you guys. So now we got Reginald Hughes going to Jacksonville State. Rich Rodriguez and the boys. And they have a great defense, or at least they did. I like Jacksonville State. I'm cool with it. Congratulations. Go get your playing time. You should have went there out of JUCO. Instead of wasting your time at Ole Miss and listening to Lane Kiffin and them boys, they will lie to you and get everybody on the bench. They don't care. Next linebacker, I talked about all these guys in previous episodes. Next linebacker is Jordan Perry, leaving Kansas State, going to Troy. I know Jordan Perry well. Went to Jefferson High School here in Georgia. Watched him play in high school. He wasn't the superstar on the team. And if you go read his profile somewhere, it'll tell you he finished 2nd in the state in the long jump. He was 2nd to Malachi Starks. Malachi Starks, true freshman starter at Georgia. Been starting at Georgia for 2 years now. Malachi Starks was a stud on that Jefferson team. This guy was just another player on the team. He was good. He was an athlete. He played some running back, some linebacker, but he wasn't Malachi Starks good. And it's come to show. He went to Kansas State, could not see the field at all. Couldn't see the field even a little bit. 2 years, 2 tackles. No, 2 years, 2 games, 1 tackle. That's real. So the poor young man is now gone, and he's headed to Troy. And I think Troy will make the best of him. Will make the best of the situation. He does have 3 years of eligibility. I think he'll be on the field in about 2 years. In about 1 year. So this next year, probably not breaking the 2 deep all that much. The following year, I think he'll be that guy. It's fine. Shout out to him. I think they got Ra Dilworth as well. Although it's not on here, I think Troy got Ra Dilworth, the 4-star linebacker from UNC. And when we start talking about linebackers that Troy signed, They got Robert Dilworth, former 4-star. You go and get Jordan Perry, I think, high Power 5 recruit type deal, and then they got one kid coming up from the FCS, and let me tell you, he's at the bottom of this chart, I think. Jackson, Brendan Jackson right here, Gardner-Webb. Brendan Jackson's a dog, and he's trying to prove he belongs at the FBS level, and I think this is his shot, and I'm cool with him, man. I like this guy's tape. Brendan Jackson is the Troy linebacker you should be excited about. The others are just 4-star, 3-star guys who didn't work out. They didn't pan out, I should say, and there you go. Next guy on the list is Justin Eklund, leaving San Jose State, going to Bowling Green. This is a Silver Spoon kid. Dad was an assistant principal at Folsom High School. Mom's in the school district. She's in charge of something, chief of communications officer. And Justin Eklund is okay. He's got 3 years of eligibility left, but he's going across the country because he wasn't getting any playing time at San Jose State. Nothing special. Went to Folsom, which is a perennial power in California if you aren't aware. But this just seems like a kid who, good luck. He said his goal is to be a coach. He let that be known now. So you're not getting an NFL player by any means. You're not getting a guy. He said his end state after college is to be a coach. So congratulations, Bowling Green. You found yourselves one hell of a hard worker. I hope he's ready to learn. Dorian Hopkins leaving Tulsa, going to UTEP. You guys know I'm excited for UTEP next season. Everything they're doing in the transfer portal, I think UTEP's going to be an entirely different team, a new team, and I'm really excited for what they're doing. I'm so real. I know people are like, UTEP, Rico. Yeah, UTEP will be one of those teams where I look at their matchups and I go, yo, you got a player. Yo, you got a team. They got a hell of a running back, y'all. I can't wait for you guys to see them. They got great receiver core. UTEP's got a team. Real talk. So you get a kid born and raised in Memphis, going to Memphis, doing his thing. He's 6 foot, 226, finally got his degree. He's been at Tulsa for a long time. 5 years at Tulsa. Last season, he finally started seeing some playing time. I watched him. He got a sack in one of the games I watched, and then he had 45 tackles. I tried to find all 45 tackles. I'm going through all the film I can do today, and I thought he looked okay. They need some help. They're losing Neal. Where's Neal at? They're losing James Neal. He's going to Texas, and James Neal's a good player. And I hate to just say, they're losing so-and-so, and you guys don't know what I'm talking about, so I apologize. But that's just kind of like how familiar I am with some of these players. I don't know if Dorian Hopkins is that upper echelon player, but hey, you get a player, come out and compete, mature, physical, it works. Dylan Brown Turner. He is once again one of my things where I say to you guys, this is a lesson learned and nobody's talking about it. I should probably make a TikTok on it. I really should. I should make a TikTok on Dylan Brown Turner because this is a linebacker who in high school was committed to North Texas. He had offers from UTSA, had offers from UTEP. Keeping it simple, right? All these small schools in Texas. This is a South Oak Cliff, Texas linebacker. South Oak Cliff, they're in Dallas, right? They won 2 state titles back to back. When I turn on the tape, I see a 6'1", 200-pound safety, rover, linebacker. I'm like, what is that? They said, oh, he's a linebacker. And if you go look at it, on Christmas Eve, he got an offer to sign with Florida State. And he says, oh, I'm not going to Sam Houston. I'm not going to La Tech. I'm going to go to Florida State. And he goes to Florida State. Congratulations. You're a 3-star kid. You are a backup plan. They did not want you. Listen to what I'm saying. They did not want you. They signed you December 24th after the early signing period, after some other kids didn't qualify or some other signings didn't work out, some other offers fell through. Maybe a player flipped and went to a different school. They finally had a leftover scholarship, and they picked you. Any of you guys ever had a girl? I don't know who I'm talking to right now. Any of you guys ever had a girl you liked? You really wanted to be with her? And then she went and picked another dude? And then after it didn't work out, she tried to call you back? Did you pick up? Did you take her up on that offer? Were you like, oh, it's my lucky day, I'm finally get to be with her? No. I hope not. If you did, you're learning face first what life is like, bro. Because she don't want to be with you. Once they pass on you, like, you're not ever on their radar like that. The Power 5 teams calling you in December, January, and February, they do not want you. You are a backup plan. They're going to find others. They're going to use the transfer portal on your ass. They're going to find other people to replace you. You're never going to see the field. No reps at practice. One guy said, well, I want to go to that school to be developed. You get no reps at practice, bro. What development are you doing? Watching film and looking at other guys hitting? You're getting your coaching development on is what you're doing. But I'm at Florida State. Okay. You got a jersey. You might not even travel on away games. So now the young man learned face first. I've been wasting my time at Florida State. I'm going to transfer. And now how often do you see a transfer Florida State to UTEP? Not often. That's not a real transfer. That's not the move, bro. But I'm excited for it. It's just the talent discrepancy isn't there. I don't think he ever belonged at Florida State. I think he's come to that realization. And now he's going to UTEP. I told you guys I'm excited about UTEP. If they got this kid out of high school, I would have been excited about UTEP. 0 stats. He was on the field for the Southern Miss game. I turned on the Southern Miss game because the school press release told me he played in the Southern Miss game. I went to go find it, put it on. Watching, and I'm watching, and he's on the field, no stats, nothing. So shout out to him finally going home and, getting a chance. Taekwon King, I'm going to go to the chat soon. I just want to finish this whole list here, and then I'll get to the other committed side. Taekwon King, leaving ECU, going to Temple. Congratulations, Taekwon. I think very highly of Taekwon King. He's just not a natural linebacker. This is a young man who had over 90 tackles at North Carolina A&T. So at the FCS, he dominated, was an FCS All-American. I went to go turn on the tape, him and Brad Roberts and another guy, BJ. But I went and looked at the 3 linebackers coming from the FCS going, and when he went to ECU, he found out right away, I can't start at ECU. I can't play at ECU. And he was like 3rd string right off the rip. This is an FCS All-American, cannot play at ECU. So within like a month or 2 of the football season, he's no longer on the team. I'm out of here. And the word was, and I reached out to some people because I talked to the players. I reached out to some people and they said, hey, man, Taekwon wants to go back to NC State. He just wants to go back to where he came from. I'm out of here, bro. But apparently he's getting a chance to go play at Temple. Temple needs linebacker. Temple needs everything. Temple's a terrible team. So he's going to Temple, and I hope he gets to earn his way onto the field. This is the right guy. Like, when you watch him, he's 6'3", 220, but he's rigid, man. He's got the dexterity of a rhino. Just doesn't quite – if a guard gets on him, he can't shake that off. It's like you look chiseled, bro, but you're just kind of uncoordinated. You guys ever watch those fights online? You watch those online fights, those brawls, and you see a dude looks all muscular, and you're like, yeah, that guy's going to kick that dude's ass. And then all of a sudden, that dude's like – punching in slow motion and missing everything. He doesn't know where he's going. Yeah, that's Taekwon King, man. He's big, strong, fast, looks good. But for some reason, he ain't that real. Like I'm not saying he's not athletic, but I don't think he's functionally athletic, naturally athletic. Like, that's the gift I've had my whole life. Like, if you just see me play basketball, you'll be like, man, that guy plays basketball. Because I'm just naturally athletic. You get some people out there, they look rigid, and they don't know what to do. That's Taekwon King. I wouldn't want to see him play basketball. It wouldn't look good. He'd probably give up 200-something points like an NBA All-Star. I'm just saying. Don't get me started on that shit. That's not even basketball. It's gross. Shane Dolak's next on the line. I already talked about everybody else. Shane Dolak at 0 stars. This is a crime. This is a crime in broad daylight. Okay? This is a young man playing linebacker for Buffalo, transferring to Utah State. First and foremost, following his defensive coordinator, he was the defensive coordinator at Buffalo 2021. So now you go to Utah State. I think his name is Joe something. Joe with a C. I forget it. But nonetheless, you're going over. Let me tell you how good Shane Dolak is. Shane Dolak led the country in solo tackles in 2022. Now, this past season, he only played in 4 games. He had injuries. It didn't go well. Him and Joe Anderson, forget the kid's name, Anderson from Brantley. He was a transfer coming in. The two of these guys had the most solo tackles in the country in 2022. 1 and 2. So they got these two middle linebackers that can just do all the tackling in the world. And then your boy Sean goes and gets injured. But Sean was second in the country in total tackles, 148 tackles. You're giving a guy 0 stars, he's got 148 tackles, bro. He's the real deal. Love everything about him. He's got 2 years of eligibility left, 6'1", 225. When you watch football, he looks like a linebacker. Utah State got a linebacker. For the next 2 years, they got a real one. They got a team leader. I love it. Shout out to them. I already talked about James. Oh, Blake Leak. I talked about Blake Leak on Twitter today. This is one of those guys I'm pretty excited about watching his tape. Played high school ball in Virginia. I go turn on the tape. I think I'm looking at the wrong tape. Because on the tape, he's a wide receiver and a defensive back. That's right. Wide receiver, defensive back, and he's all-state wide receiver, defensive back. Imagine an all-state wide receiver, defensive back, gets no offers, no FBS level offers. So he goes and says, I'm going to go to Bucknell. And he's been at Bucknell, and he's 6'1", 215, and he's a linebacker now. A linebacker. Over 200 career tackles. Been playing over 30 games. Man, he looks good on tape. He looks fluid. That's a fluid dude right there. That's a really good player. These are all studs. By the way, these are all studs. These 0-star dudes, this is crazy. All these dudes are studs right here. You guys heard it here first. I'm telling you, these 0-star guys, they're not only are they starters, they're legitimately all-conference caliber players. So you got Blake Leak going to the MAC. Ohio just lost the linebacker in the transfer portal. I think he might lead Ohio in tackles. That's how good he is. I think he's going to lead Ohio in tackles. I'm putting it on wax. I'm putting it down there. You guys can record it. Let the world know. I know linebackers. I know football. I get all these right. Hey, Rico strikes again. People always hating on me. Rico don't know nothing. Rico don't know nothing. You ever walk past somebody who didn't know shit? Do you tell them they don't know shit? I walk past homeless people all the time. I never look at them and go, man, you're broke. You ain't got no money. You don't know shit. You don't know the. I never do that. Never do that. So shout out to the haters who try to do that to me. I know the deal. You haters, you know, dogs don't bark at parked cars. I'm moving on up. And all the dogs are barking. All the haters are barking. Dogs don't bark at parked cars. They're barking at me, bruh. And they ain't real dogs. All these dudes are poodles. They don't spell dog with a W. I can tell you that right now. They don't spell dog with an A-W. They ain't built like me. Shout out to Blake Leak, though. He is all-state wide receiver, DB, turn linebacker, did his damn thing. Then I turn on the tape on Jaden Flake. So I get so excited about Blake Leak. I'm like, yo, that was great. I go to the next guy, and I'm blown. I was actually on TikTok Live when I was watching his tape, and I had this moment where I was like, man, you guys need to see this tape. And I didn't show it to them because the third guy was even better. I don't know how to explain this to you guys. So I thought I saw, obviously I know Sean. I've seen him play on Saturdays. This guy led the country in tackles, no big deal, right? I know all these players. I'm looking at Dylan Brown Turner, and I'm going, why'd you go to Florida State? Taekwon King, I know him already. Okay, covered him last year when he transferred to ECU. But Sean, no need to look at the tape. These three guys I looked at tape today. There's three of them. Max Harris, Jaden Flaker, and Blake Leak, and they're all going to be all conference worthy players. I look at Jaden Flaker and I go, this kid's leaving North Carolina Central after 1 year. And he's going to Memphis. Listen to me, all you young kids out there who want to go D1. I want to go D1. Dude, there's 133 FBS teams. That's D1. That's what you guys call D1. There's also 128 FCS teams. 128 of them that you don't even know. 128. They're also D1. It's all D1, baby. One's FBS, one's FCS. One plays for bowl games, FBS. That's bowl games. One plays for bowl games at the end of the year. FCS, they play in a damn tournament for the championship. That's how you tell the two apart. And FCS is Division I football. So you got a guy like Jaden Flaker in high school. He plays in Maine, bro, Maine. Scarborough, Maine. Nobody's looking at his tape. Nobody's interested in this kid. He says, fine, I'm going to go Division I. I'm going to NC Central. North Carolina Central. I'm going to the MEAC. And what did he do in 1 year? He didn't lead his team in tackles. No, he led the whole conference in tackles. That's what you do. All you kids talking about, man, they missed on me. They missed on me. Dude, stop talking about it. Be about it. Go to the FCS and lead the whole conference in tackles. Now we're talking. And then he did that, 4.5 sacks. He didn't go, oh, I need to be in the SEC. No, he's going to Memphis. I need to make sure I see the field. I'm 6'2", 222. I need to be on the field. And Memphis is about to be a damn playoff team. Memphis is about to win 10 games or more next year. Memphis is my number one group of 5 team out there. I can't wait to see Memphis play Notre Dame. I can't wait to see Memphis play whoever you got, bruh. Seth Hennigan's about to do the damn thing, and he's got a linebacker for real. Their defense is terrible. I really like this kid, Jaden Flaker. Okay? Next guy, Max Harris. Hey, Max Harris is him. So Max Harris from Mansfield, Texas. Coming out of high school, Max Harris is a safety wide receiver, skill player. Doesn't get signed by any FBS level teams. Goes Division I, though. He goes to UIW, Incarnate Word. And he goes to play for a coach named G.J. Kinney. And he plays all right. Nothing too great. He plays all right. Takes that, and he earns himself a scholarship to ULM. Congratulations, you're going D1. Goes to ULM, and this year, he led ULM in tackles. The number one tackler at ULM was Max Harris. It's tied with another kid who transferred to Houston. But Max Harris leads the team in tackles, and now he's transferring to go play with G.J. Kinney and his staff again. A coaching staff he's familiar with. So I go turn on the tape. And I see a guy. I mean, he's just hitting everybody. Just look. I want to show you guys a hit on this. I don't even want to do it dirty. Like, let me see if I can pull this up. Max Harris. What is it? Huddle. Let's see if it comes up. Max Harris huddle. That's not it. Max Harris. Preston Max Harris. Let's see this one. Let's just see it. We're watching it together, y'all. Let me I can't pull it into full screen because then it'll give the whole monitor. You guys won't be able to see it all. Trying to see what I can do. I just got to leave it like this. I'm sorry for the commercials. Because if I go full screen, it just doesn't scale it properly. I apologize. But he plays running back on the first clip. Now remember, this is a linebacker, right? But I told you in high school, he played wide receiver and DB. Oh, by the way, they can't tackle him. He's going to score. Okay, so he's really strong. He's about that life. But I start watching these hits. Watch this. Right here. What the hell was that, bro? Hey, look at that hit. Look at it. Oh, my goodness. I'm watching tape. I want to know. I can't even drag it into the screen, I don't think. Yeah, you guys see this? Anybody watching this? He's this safety right here. Look at this kid. And he's now a linebacker. He's got coverage skills. When you're hitting people like that on tape, I'm going to notice. Boom, flipping dudes. I'm going to notice you. When you start hitting like this, I turn on the tape, I said, what the hell am I looking at? This guy's annihilating people. Max Harris, you led a whole team in tackles. Texas State found themselves a baller. He's looking to hurt somebody, dude. Y'all can't see that one. That one's off the screen. I apologize. And it's a touchdown run. What a great player. Shout out to Max Harris. I wrote to him on Twitter to let him know. He's on my radar. Really like what I saw. Brennan Jackson. I'm sorry. I want to make sure I don't keep that playing because I don't need any background noise. Brennan Jackson, leaving Gardner-Webb, going to Troy. Love what I saw. Like I said, this is a young man. I'm sorry for that. This is a young man. I got something on the screen there. There we go. This is a young man that went to Savannah State coming out of high school. So you go to Savannah State, Division II, transfer into Gardner-Webb, prove yourself, third on the team in tackles. Now you go to Troy, do your damn thing. I'm excited for him. And then the last guy, before I get to the chat, coming out of Fordham, going to Northern Illinois, is Mark Preto. Now, I want to admit this. I turned on the tape to watch him, and I got distracted immediately. I got distracted because there's a corner on that team that I think is NFL ready. He's got 2 years of eligibility. I wrote to him immediately. He wrote me back on TikTok and Twitter, and he said, yes, sir, I have two years of eligibility left. The corner's name is Nahil Perkins. And Nahil Perkins will be in the NFL and in somebody's Final 53 the minute he declares for the NFL draft. I don't know if he gets drafted. I hope he does. But I'm letting you guys know now, and we're putting it on wax right here for everybody to hear. Nahil Perkins will make it in the NFL. I know what I know. I see what I see. There's no getting me off it. Nahil Perkins is the guy. And he popped on tape. It's unfortunate he popped on the tape more than Mark. I just got distracted and started watching nothing but Nahil Perkins highlights and trying to find all the film I could. That's how great I thought that corner was. And that happens to me a lot when I watch film. I get distracted by other great players on the tape. Get in where you fit in. All right, so before I go over and look at the committed linebackers, let's jump to the chat. Like I told you guys, I'm going to have to let you guys see the sausage being made here in a moment. So please bear with me. I just got to do something real quick. Sorry. Let's go. All right. Now we got the chat all set. Let's interact. There isn't much to talk to. You guys didn't write a lot. That's fine. I love it. It enables me to just have a normal conversation. So, shout out to Lewis Henton. Lewis Henton's here. He's here every single day. That man has been here for years now. Shout out to Lewis Henton. The RTR stands for Roll, Tide, Roll. Shout out to you, brother. I love Alabama. You guys know this. High Definition Sports. Welcome to it. He says, what up, Top? We in here. Hunter Darling. If you guys didn't know, Hunter Darling is a man who comes in here, gives me a shout out every single day on TikTok. And whenever he writes, what's up, Top, that's not a homosexual term. In the military, the top of the totem pole, the top of the food chain, the trainer of personnel is the first sergeant. That's what you call your first sergeant in the Army. That's the highest ranking enlisted member in most units. That is me. I was that before I retired. Shout out to you for recognizing me. I appreciate you. Josh Townsend says, I know it's a big name guy, but curious on your thoughts on Jason Dumas Johnson heading to Kentucky. So, John Townsend, if you're curious about my thoughts on Jason Dumas Johnson, I want you to go to episode 1 because I believe I talked about him at length in episode 1 of the linebackers. So you go to the live tab, find the linebackers. I double-checked. Yes, I talked about him in episode 1. And so if you want to know about him or what I thought of him, it's covered in episode 1. Shout out to you. Rico, which linebacker surprised you the most on the list? So, Derek Newcomer, no linebackers really surprise me as far as being in the transfer portal because that's going to happen. Who surprised me by, like, their ability or their film? Some of those zero-star guys I just talked about. If I'm going through this list, I mean, there's probably some others on that enrolled list. Some of the guys on here that I think are pretty good. That surprised me as opposed to, like, you don't surprise me when you lead your team in tackles. I know who you are. Surprised me. Ozzie Nichols surprised me because I'd never watched Princeton football because they're an FCS program, so I went back and watched him. He had a great season. Stone Blanton surprised me a ton. There's good surprises and bad surprises. There's some surprises, like I'm surprised that player is going to that school. I'm surprised that player got an offer. But as far as surprising me on tape, like I didn't know it was coming, it's very rare. Obviously, I watch all the players. It would have to be somebody from the FCS level. It's not somebody I watch. Like if I watch FBS football, I watch every game. So there's really nothing that surprises me. I'm looking. I would imagine it's got to be lower on the list for who surprised me the most. And a lot of these guys I won't even talk about in this episode. But, yeah, I don't know what to say. A lot of those zero-star guys I just talked about were the biggest surprises. Here's one that surprised me. It surprised me they keep Jacob Dobbs at 2 stars. Jacob Dobbs is an absolute monster. I'm sorry, I was looking at the list and you guys couldn't see it because I'm sifting through it while we talk. Jacob Dobbs, Holy Cross to JMU. It surprises me the recruiting websites have the nerve to keep him at 2 stars. Complete monster, complete animal, one of the best. So, yeah, that surprises me. Sorry, I don't have a more refined answer for you in that regard. Sean was a good player in high school, coached against him but Virginia doesn't have the best comp week to week. Yeah, so you're going to find these kids. Let me just make this very clear. Most of the kids on this list are the best players in their high school's history. So, of course, they look good in high school. Of course, they were some of the best players you coached against and you had to deal with. Some of the recruits just don't pan out. Some of them don't have the drive and work ethic. It is what it is. Zaire Alexander is a nice FCS linebacker. This is a young man that's transferring from Idaho to UCF. I have already told you guys I'm very underwhelmed by him. I do not think he's a nice FCS linebacker. I do not understand why he transferred to UCF. I thought he should have transferred to Hawaii or one of the Mountain West schools. I do not see him in the Power 5 or Power 4. I don't think he's that good. I don't think he's of that caliber. On your off time, what up, Moneybag Jace? Can you please watch film on Nylan Brown on Ben Davis, Indianapolis, Indiana linebacker, incoming freshman to Kent State? No, I don't have any off time, Moneybag, and on my off time I spend it with the missus. I would watch that film if you made a donation to my TikTok and pointed me in that direction. I do all reviews and film reviews like that based upon donations, not based upon somebody just dropping a line on me saying, you need to see this guy's film, he's great. I don't care. I don't really care about recruits, to be honest. They are not in the too deep. They don't contribute as much as you'd anticipate. It's a big waste of time. And most recruiting websites will talk about them. I'm good. I do want to give some people some love, get some people some shine and an offer, but I don't necessarily want to just go watch film because some kid's committed to Kent State. It doesn't move me that way. But I appreciate the heads up. Sam's Take says, checking in. Shout out to you, Sam. Thanks for checking in. David in Arizona, good to see you, bro. Good afternoon. Coaching development, Lewis is laughing. Shout out to him. Andres Kaiser says, Jaylen Brown could be a good wide receiver. You might want to go watch my wide receiver podcast. I've already talked about Jaylen Brown at length in one of my wide receiver episodes. I'm pretty sure it's maybe episode 1 or 2. It's got to be 1 or 2. So go watch those, and you're not sharing anything new that I don't already know. I think Jaylen Brown's a great receiver. Talked about him many times. Peter Stokes says, are you only talking about transfer portal linebackers? Yes. For today, yes. Every single day I do a different position group. Not every day, but every time I do a podcast, it's on a different position group. It's just a way to stay organized, and it's helping me learn every single player in the transfer portal, which is what I do. I pretty much know them, but there are certain people I don't know, like FCS transfers or some of the backups that might not have any statistical data and weren't highly recruited. It's tough for me to know everyone, but I try really hard. And especially if they're in the transfer portal, I know them. By the end of this offseason, I will have done enough episodes to know them all. When the football season starts, I will transition my episodes to talk about teams and conferences, but that's not today and that's not now. So yes, only linebackers. Shout out to you, Peter Stokes. Thank you for being here. Salute. What up, the dazzling Globetrotter? Good to see you, bro. Check out Some Dude Don't Care. Not a thing for me, Deuce. Thanks for spamming my chat with something I do not care about. Hardwick Harris says, thank you for the content. You got it, man. How do you feel about Gus Cordova situation? You should rewind the show. I started off the show with the Gus Cordova situation. It was part of my monologue. Rewind this show, put it at 1.5 speed, and you'll catch up. That's all you guys got to do. If you get here late, rewind the show from the beginning, 1.5 speed, and you'll catch up. Joining MVPs tonight. Shout out to you, Gaby. If you guys don't know, Gabe, if you guys don't know, you can join MVPs on Patreon or on YouTube. I'd much prefer it on Patreon. But if you become an MVP, you get access to all my premium content, which enables you to bet on things and you'll know what's going on. Today I made a video, how many games is Duke going to win next season? I've already done 7 different teams. I also provide futures bets on the NFL draft, CFL, and obviously all of UFC fights. We're currently at like 68% picking UFC fights. In the football season, we are 60% picking games against the spread, and that's over 400 games. In the fights, it's been over 60 fights now. So the results speak for themselves. I'm not really worried about it. So if you want to watch the Cordova stuff, rewind the show I talked about at the beginning. How much would it cost for you to look at his tape? Moneybag Jace, for me to look at somebody's tape, there is not a set price. There is a system that we have in place. There's a pinned video on YouTube talking about it, on TikTok talking about it. The way it works is Everybody's free to make a donation every single day. You make your donations, it goes to the chart and the waiting list. If you make your donation, that's all you got to do. And if it's the top 2 donations for the day, you will get your video made. If you didn't make the top 2, the amount you donated rolls over to the next day. We do it again. Top 2 get their videos made every single day. Everybody else is just on the waiting list. So you can make a $20 donation and sit tight and hope that it eventually gets to the top because everybody else will be done before you. Or you can start tipping and doing what you need to do to get to the top. Some people pay $100. Some people pay $500. Some people pay $3. I can tell you this. The average price paid for a video that has been done, the average price is $67. And that doesn't mean it takes $67 to get a video. That's just what the price is on average. The average donation is $33. Let me tell you how many donations we have less than that. About 100. Okay? So give what you want, but your video won't be made if you're not being realistic about the donation. Just real talk. Rico, I haven't seen anything on it. But have you talked about Jackson Arnold post the Arizona bowl game? No, I have not talked about Jackson Arnold post the bowl game. He's not been in the transfer portal. He's not transferring. There's really nothing to talk about. He's a good player, and he's got to learn, get into the starting lineup, and lead his team to victory. That's all there is to it. It's not that hard. He's doing well. All right, let me get back to the list. If you guys got any more questions or anything you want to write in the chat, please put it in the chat. I'll let it build up. I'll get back to it. But I'm going to get back to these linebackers. I only have a few more left because I only do 25 every night. We'll get back to the chat, and then we're going to end the show. We're not going too long, y'all. Trying to keep it right around an hour. So let's get this going. All right. Let me close this out, and let me go back to the list. Boom. Now we're looking at people who are committed. I'm telling you, I've covered a fair amount of these guys, so we're going to go back to the top. If there's anybody I've missed, I'll let you know. But for the most part, everybody's been covered in episode 2, 1, and 2, stuff like that. The first guy I have not covered, which is really weird, is Wayne Matthews III. Now, I talked about him in other videos. This is a young man who led his team in tackles. He was 11th in the nation in tackles, and he's transferring to Michigan State. Shout out to him. A little skinny coming out of high school, 6'2", 195. Obviously lifted some weights, got in there. I turned on the high school tape. He was in a 4-4 scheme. His high school tape doesn't matter anymore. But I want to tell you guys, if you're in a scheme that doesn't look right on film and it doesn't look like it translates, it can hurt you. You can be an FBS caliber player or a Power 5 caliber player, Power 4 caliber player, and you might find yourself at ODU because nobody believes in you at that point. But I think he's a pretty damn good player. I'm excited for him. Going to a well-coached Michigan State team, a very good defense. Shout out to Cal Halliday. He's got 2 years left. Jordan Hall looked great last year as a freshman. They got linebackers, bro. They got linebackers. Michigan State has linebackers, and I think they'll be improved. I know nobody wants to hear that, but it's the truth. Next guy on the list that I haven't covered yet is Kendrick Blackshire. This is an absolute joke. Kendrick Blackshire going from Alabama to Texas. Most of you know him because there was some highlight reel video, some hype tape. I call it hype tape. It's not even huddle film. It's hype tape. Somebody makes one of those highlight tapes. Oh my God, look at the number 1 linebacker in Texas. He's so strong, and he's got his shirt off and a six-pack. You're like, bro, you don't even play football with your shirt off. What is this? What you need to know about Kendrick Blackshire is his senior year, yeah, he played at Duncanville, and he went viral for one of those hype films. And he ends up going to Alabama, and everybody goes, Alabama got a man, blah, blah, blah. No, you didn't. You got a guy that's injury prone. He missed the entire junior year due to a torn ACL. So he didn't even play his junior year. What are we talking about? 4-star kid. He went to Duncanville. He didn't start his high school years at Duncanville. He transferred into Duncanville. He's not a real Duncanville product. That's real, man. I'm just letting you guys know. I don't know where Mesquite Horn is. Somebody tell me where Mesquite Horn is. That was his high school, Mesquite Horn High School. So you can get excited about this dude, but he ain't never impressed me, not a day, not a minute. And in 3 years at Alabama, you have 16 tackles. 6 tackles this year. That is absurd. And you go and transfer to Texas? You think you're going to start at Texas? You think you're going to play at Texas? I think he just wants to be a part of a winning culture. He just wants to be he got paid. He got paid. Hey, man, what are they paying at Texas? I don't know, man. They're throwing the bag at us. He got paid because he's not going to do shit on the field. He's not a good football player. I promise you, he's not a good dude. I don't think he's impactful in any way. I'm offended by his ranking. This dude has 6 tackles. This dude has over 300. Like, one dude is real. One dude they claim can play football. And what's worse is he's the same rank as Jaheim Thomas, who led his team in tackles last year, 100 tackles for Arkansas, who actually played in the SEC, couldn't play in the SEC, played in the SEC. They got the same rating. This was a 4-star kid coming out of high school. So was Kendrick. It's dumb. This was a starter at Wisconsin. Kendrick Blackshear can't start at Wisconsin. He can't start anywhere. I'm embarrassed for this. I think it's a terrible move. He had to go down in competition. He should have been transferring to UTSA, transferring to North Texas. You want to come back home? Go to SMU, bro. Don't go to Texas. That's absurd. You're not good enough. Ozzie Nicholas, I went and turned on the tape because obviously I don't watch Ivy League football. I thought he was going to San Diego State. I really did. And I know that his recruiting process was damn near finished. And then Duke reached out to him and said, come play over here. And okay, let's go. Coach Pat Key won him over. That's a defensive coordinator for Duke. Won him over. Shout out to Manny Diaz in his new position. You got your player, but I don't know. It doesn't feel like. I mean, Duke's defense is going to be hurt, and they lost so much to the transfer portal. I talked about Duke this morning in my MVP video. I just think they've lost a ton to the transfer portal, like really, really good players. And I hope that Ozzie doesn't show up and the whole cupboard's bare. Just how I feel. And in my research, I found out that the founder of Duke, I forgot his name. The founder of Duke, his last name is Duke, by the way. He offered Princeton his entire fortune. He said, JB Duke says, you guys want my fortune? Rename your university after me. And Princeton said, nah, we're not doing that. So sure enough, he found himself building Duke, and he built Duke in the same way that Princeton looks, with those Gothic style, that famous Gothic style. That's why Duke looks that way, is because of some beef from back in the day. Talk about a rabbit hole. Like, talk about doing research and then going, and making a left-hand turn and learning all about university founders and shit. That's me, bro. That's me in a nutshell. That's amoeba. Anyways, let's scroll down. I covered a lot of these guys. We're almost done here, and I'll get back to the chat. I hope you guys get your questions in on the chat. Covered a lot of these guys in the first 2 episodes, so if you want to learn about them, go. Stephon Thompson, leaving Syracuse, going to Nebraska. This is another guy following his defensive coordinator. Shout out to Tony White. Tony White just left Syracuse, going to Nebraska, doing the same thing over there. It's a 3-3-5 defense. Stephon Thompson fits well in that defense, so he says, I'm coming over, coach. So he's going to go over there. This is a man who has over 169 tackles in his career while at Syracuse. Good football player. I think he's good. And remember Farmer? Who's the kid who got the DUI, kicked out of school? I think it was Farmer. He got kicked out of school by Nebraska, and everybody wanted to know, where's he going? He went to Syracuse. Well, he's also transferred recently. But Stephon Thompson, not a troubled kid, good kid, and I don't think Nebraska would bring in anybody who's any trouble. This young man had offers from Kansas State and Arizona State, I believe, and he figured it out. So he's going to Nebraska. He's going to start. You're going to know his name. Stephon Thompson, good player. Turn on the tape. 6'1", 248, packs a punch. Next guy, Jalen Wester. I've talked about Jalen Wester in the past, made many videos on him. Obviously playing with his 2 brothers at FAU. His more famous brother is LeJohntay Wester, or Tay Wester, wide receiver, slot receiver, over 100 receptions. But Jalen's younger, and Jalen, the minute he got on campus, he started right away. 60 tackles back in 2022. This year was 58 tackles, or 56 tackles, 4 less. But Jalen Wester's a good transfer. Now, all of a sudden, the PFF scores come out. Now, all of a sudden, they're saying Jalen Wester's one of the top transfer linebackers. Why? Because he's going to Colorado, and we need to rank all the Colorado transfers really high, or else their fan base will get upset. But I'm telling you, Jalen Wester looks like a quality, undersized linebacker. He is undersized. He's only about 200, 205 pounds, soaking wet. If he's heavier, they're lying on the scale. Jalen Wester needs to get in the weight program, keep lifting weights, but he's a player. He finds the ball. He flies around. He makes plays. But then again, you're playing in Conference USA against some really – wait, was it Conference USA? Where's FAU play? They play in the American now? They still, the competition isn't equivalent. And I think that Jalen Wester might have a little bit of adjustment issue, just a little bit, for the level of competition. But he's really young. He's got 2 years of eligibility left. He's never redshirted. I think he's got time to be a starter, full-time starter in 2 years, I think, personally. Next, I want to talk about Ethan Barr real quick. I talked about him in episode 1. Total stud, was supposed to go to Washington, but with the coaching changes at Washington, didn't go. Now he's going to UCF. This is the first linebacker that I've seen UCF sign that I'm excited about, that I think is a high-quality transfer. Shout out to Ernie Sims, their linebacker coach, superstar. And Ethan Barr doing his damn thing. So that's a really good transfer for me. I like Ethan Barr transferring to UCF. I got about 5 guys left on this chart, so please bear with me, and then I'll get back to the chat. You can load up the chat with what you guys want to say. Next guy I need to talk about is Ian Jackson. Ian Jackson leaving Alabama, doing the right thing. He's from Prattville, Alabama, but he's going to UTSA. Not doing that dumb shit his teammates doing. He said, hey, man, hey, yo, Blackshaw, we don't really want to do this, bro. We're going to transfer. Let's go to somewhere where we can play ball. Let's get on the field. And Ian Jackson's leaving Alabama. He was only there for 2 years. He got 1 tackle in 2022, no tackles in 2023. Ian Jackson, probably not good enough to be at Alabama, decided to roll out. He was a 91 rating, 4-star kid. They dropped him down to 3. But I turned on the high school tape, and there's a play really early on in the tape. He takes an offensive tackle and just, with one arm, just does that Reggie White thing where he just tosses him away. And he's not a big guy, man. He's 6'1", 2-something. 6'1", 230, 220, 230. And he's just not that big. And he's just, I think pound for pound, very strong kid. Leverage, he understands leverage, pound for pound, very strong kid. I like this move. Oh, by the way, remember I told you there was a leading tackler at ULM? There's the other one, Michael Benton, and he was going to Houston. I remembered it. I'm a beast. I'm a beast. What? Going all the way down this list that far, and I memorize these guys. I really do this. It's a real thing, just so you know. Next guy on the list that we're going to talk about after Ian Jackson is Raymond Scott, leaving Fresno State, going to JMU. You guys don't know Raymond Scott. He used to play at USC. This was a safety coming out of high school, Narburn High School. Went to USC, and he played for 4 years there. 4-star, 94 rating, blah, blah, blah. You see it there. It's 94 rating. This is ridiculous. Guess what, guys? Can't play football. Can't play football. Contest out of his mind, can do really well at camps, can't play football. There's no other way to put it. 4 years at USC. They have a terrible defense. This man has 24 tackles in 4 years. Goes to Fresno State because you got to go down in competition. You're going to transfer from USC, go to Fresno State. It sounds like you can transfer there and start. No, not happening. I think he had 20 tackles. I think. I turned on the tape and looked everywhere. Couldn't play. It's false advertisement. This is not a 4-star player. JMU is getting a guy that people are hoping is an athlete. He's in his 7th year of college football. He got a year back for eligibility due to injury, a medical red shirt, things like that. Never panned out. Speaking of never panning out, how about Avery Huff? Avery Huff used to be at Miami. This was a 4-star kid. You see it there, 4 stars. Superstar. Couldn't play at Miami. Ended up transferring to FIU, and the first thing I said was, he can't play at FIU either. He can't play at FIU either. He can't play anywhere. And it's just they realized, oh, man, we gave this guy the wrong stars. He was at camp, and he looked good. This ain't it. 6'3", 205. He just is not it. He can't play anywhere. So I said, guys, he needs to, in episode 1 I talked about this, he needs to transfer to FAMU. He needs to transfer to FAMU, right? Florida A&M. Or lower. Like, he needs to go somewhere else. He didn't listen. I saw him on Twitter spamming Colorado coaches asking for an offer. Colorado coaches would be like, hey, I'm tapped in. I'm going here. Tap in, blah, blah, blah. He'd be tapping the coach. Look at my film. Bro, we know who you are. You've been around for a long time. You're 2019, St. Thomas Aquinas. We know who you are. You're not him. So he ends up going to La Tech. I don't think he can play at La Tech. Might get a couple tackles on special teams. Not it. Julian Simon, former 4-star. You guys don't know this. Tacoma, Washington. Yeah. Running back, wide receiver, linebacker, safety on his high school tape. Coming out of high school, where'd he go? 2021, USC. Didn't pan out at USC. Transfers to Tulsa. Played pretty good at Tulsa. 58 tackles. Actually played well at Tulsa this last year. Good enough. And now he's transferring to UConn. Got 2 years of eligibility left. Hope he does well. This is a kid just traveling everywhere. I don't know what it is. I don't know what he's getting ready for. I don't know who's prepping him. Last guy I want to talk about is Caden Johnson down here. 1 year of eligibility left. Leaving Wisconsin, going to Nevada. He plays kind of stiff. Pause. Plays like an edge player. Probably needs to have a hand in the dirt. 6'2", 250. Not a standing linebacker. Not a guy who should be dropping into coverage or nothing like that. His tight end tape looked good. His high school tape is tight end. Looked good. Looked like he had good straight line speed. But 22 tackles back in 2022. And then, okay, so he's in 2022. He gets 22 tackles at Wisconsin. He's a Paul Chryst recruit. And then they do a coaching change. Luke Fickell comes in. New coaching staff. You got to win him over, right? Didn't win him over. He only got 5 tackles this year. He lost playing time. As you stay at the school longer, you should get increased playing time. He got reduced playing time. So that's why he's hitting the transfer portal. He couldn't start. He couldn't see the field. And what's crazy is Wisconsin was not happy with any of their linebackers and upgraded linebacker like crazy in the transfer portal. So he's not that good. Okay? So that's how that goes. If you're asking me questions down here on TikTok, I can't see them. You got to come to YouTube, put it in the chat. I can't see them. They go by. I'd love to answer them, but they're not here for me. So, sorry, guys. You're talking to yourselves down there. All right, I'm done covering all the linebackers I wanted to cover tonight. I hope you learned something about some of these linebackers, some of these zero-star kids. Rewind the episode. Take notes. Learn who they are because they're going to matter. Okay, I'm going to go to the chat one last time before we call it a show. Let's see what we got, and we'll go from there. Give me a second. I think I minimized my chat bar. That's impossible. There we go. And I want to be able to interact with you guys, so I have to be able to drag the bar and go to the top. Where were we? Logan Mills says, thoughts on Jayshon Barham? I talked about him in a previous episode, so if you can go find that episode, Logan Miles, I'd appreciate it. I know I'm not answering your question, and you're probably not going to go look for it, but that's what I do. I'm farming engagement here. Please go watch the other episodes. I did talk about Jayshon in depth in a previous linebacker episode. So what I'll tell you is, let me do this. I don't want to completely blow it off because I never want to blow off anything, but I'm going to try to tell you where. It's episode 1, okay? And it's pretty early on. What do I talk about? The fact that he went to St. Francis, that he was a honorable mention or a freshman All-American honorable mention in the Big Ten. I think he's a good player going to Michigan, but he's got 2 years of eligibility left. There are other players that they needed to replace and find. Shout out to Michael Barrett for being out of eligibility. Junior Collison leaving for the NFL. But I think he pairs nicely with Ernest Hausman, and I'm thinking of one more guy, and Jimmy. So that's how I feel about Jayshon. I think he's a good player. I don't think it's the greatest transfer like people are making it out to be. It feels like another Ernest Hausman type transfer, which is quality. But it's not like, this is one of the best linebackers in the portal. I don't feel that way at all. There are other guys who have led team in tackles in the Power 4. I'm more excited about those, but shout out to you. Texas winning 2 natties. Shout out to you, Joseph Villalon. Not even close. Bending UGA over sideways October 19th. You got it, Joseph. This is also the troll on TikTok that goes by the name Bossman. That's Joseph Villalon. So if you guys ever see that name anywhere, just know it's a dude who still wets the bed. Isaiah says, I went back and listened to what you said. It's just funny to me that his response was, I haven't lost any offers. You have a great show. Keep up the work. Thank you so much, Isaiah. I appreciate you. Someone tell me where Buford is. Where is Buford? The high school, Buford? It's in Georgia, north of Atlanta, if that's what you're asking. Freddie Coronado says, Uncle Rico, what's up, bro? What up, man? Tyreek Curley says, do you know of any teams that are in need of linebackers? Well, I'd imagine all the teams need linebackers. Everybody needs a linebacker. Please don't spam your questions more than once, Logan Mills. I will always get to the question eventually. Never repeat the question. Never read the chat. Do that again. I will get to the chat. We let it build up for a good 10, 15, 20 minutes. I don't know. I mean, every team needs linebackers. I don't know what you're saying. Oregon in 25. I don't know what that means either. Texas winning the next 2 to 3 natties. College football going to be boring for all you fans. All right. He's going to leave at halftime. T Boogie, Ernie Sims, FSU legend. You guys want to hear something really cool about Ernie Sims? Ernie Sims won 4 state titles in a row in high school, and he didn't win his senior year. He won a state title as an 8th grader. Ernie Sims was the #1 linebacker in the recruiting process, and it's the first time a linebacker was ever #1 overall. He's the only one to ever do it. Ernie Sims was amazing in high school. And yes, he went to Florida State. And he was the 8th overall pick to the Lions. Don't ask me how I know all this stuff. Terry Curley says, how do you feel about linebackers at Washington? I don't feel any type of way about them. I think that they got some work to do. They got their work cut out. They were trying to address their linebacker needs at Washington. If you saw early on, before the coaching change, they were recruiting linebackers out of the transfer portal, offering many and bringing them in. So it is what it is. Washington is cheeks. Apparently, Joseph Villalon really likes Washington. Thoughts on Michigan's new defensive staff? Logan Mills, nothing too much, man. It doesn't really concern me because they have good players and they've had a number of recruits or recruiting classes to build off of. What might concern me is if they start losing players in the transfer portal after the spring cycle. So you got spring football coming up. Some guys are going to lose out in competition and come to the realization they're not in the too deep and they're going to hit the portal. So let's see if they can hold on. That's what really matters. Right now, though, the staff itself, they're good. Staff's good. I'm encouraged by it. And all you need to do is find really good defenders and really good NFL pedigree or people that can get you ready for the draft. And I think that that's what they're doing, right? So I'm encouraged by it. I would say anytime you have a head coach that was just the offensive coordinator, you got that side of the ball figured out. You just need to find another quote-unquote coach or head coach for the defense. Somebody you don't have to talk to or work with or worry about. Somebody who can do it all themselves. And I think that's what Michigan did with their hire, right? You go out and you get a guy who's probably been coaching defenses. Wink's been doing it for 20-something years now. He knows what he's doing. So I'm encouraged by Michigan. I hope they figured it out. Oh, that's Daddy's money. Oh, yeah, there you go, Nick. That's exactly who that is. He don't have any money. He just talks crazy. That guy's got no money. He lives in a fictitious world. He'll claim he's at halftime. He'll be like, it's halftime. I'm here at the game. He'll claim he's at every game. He went to the national title game. He went to this game. He went to that game. He'll claim anything. That dude's full of it. Do you think Oklahoma's defense will be decent this year? Decent is a very subjective term. I think Oklahoma's defense is good. I mean, I don't care about decent. I think it's pretty good. I think they got athletes everywhere. They know what they're doing. They're cool. What do I think about LeJontay Wester? I've talked about him many times over, Smoke. I believe very highly in LeJontay Wester. Tay Wester is one of the best slot receivers I've seen. I talked about him before he ever went to Colorado. On TikTok, I made many videos about him. I believed in him completely. Talked about him every single week to the MVPs. We just believe in LeJontay Wester. He's always open. He's good to get his catches, his receptions, even with terrible quarterback play. No matter who he's covering, no matter who he's going against, no matter what the coverage is or the scheme or they know they're trying to stop him. He's the only sense of offense, and he still does his thing. I think he's a pro. I think he plays on Sundays. So I'm excited for him. Good luck to him. Thank you guys for hanging out with me tonight. I don't want to go too far over an hour because I want to give people a chance to watch the whole episode. I hope you learned about some linebackers in the transfer portal tonight. And please, let your friends know. They don't know shit, but Rico knows. Peace, y'all. See you next time.
The time in my dreams, I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, no longer a fan. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you. I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, no longer a fan. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you.
I do this for the kids who sit a bit outside the mix, who maybe cope through humor just to fit in for a bit, who never let the world know when depression's setting in. To all of those who know you, that impression don't exist. And it ain't counterfeit, it's just a way to counter it. I'm living things I dreamed about, I still encounter it. It ain't something that a cigarette or alcohol can fix, but all because of it, I flipped it quick, went on to write some hits. This a success, off another breath. This the first step in searching to be nothing less than be the best in what you do to prove their strength in being you. Learn so much in chasing dreams that I never would in school. Depends on where your passion lie, just no passion never lie. Life presents distractions, but your actions have to fortify. The things that you believe in have to scream it like a battle cry, and leave the ones who didn't looking stupid while they're asking why. Couldn't lie, I really do this for the ones I love. Those who treat the music as a vice and lyrics like a drug. Those who need advice on how to lift their spirit high enough to break out of the box they make up lives they know aren't good enough. Just because it's how it is don't mean it's how it has to be. This is what the uninspired testifiers fail to see. Jealousy results from being that which others fail to be, and if it means you're not with me, that honestly sounds fair to me.
I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, no longer a fiend. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this